Thank you for the opportunity to present GoGold this afternoon. I'd just like to talk a little bit about GoGold and the management team. As mentioned, GoGold is a junior producer and explorer, and all of my career, which is 30 years, we've focused our activities in Mexico. And over that period of time, I led 4 public companies, Gammon Gold, Mexgold, Nayarit Gold, and GoGold, the most recent, and for the last 10 years, it has been GoGold. And you can see that through our model of dealing with a lot of the private families in Mexico, finding projects that are off the radar, and we brought the capital to these projects. And over that period of time, we built 4 mines and found in excess of 10 million ounces of gold equivalent in Mexico. So now I'd like to talk for a moment about the company's capital structure. We have 278 million shares outstanding, and the current cash is about 60 million US. We have no debt. We have a receivable from the Mexican government for value-added tax that we will receive over part of that in the coming months, about 50% of that, and the rest over the next year or so for another 15 million. So altogether, we have between 70 and 80 million dollars of available capital to explore and eventually the potential to build our project at Los Ricos, and we have no debt. We have about 20% insider ownership, which is, of course, very important. I myself, as CEO, am the second largest shareholder of the company. So I feel my interests are very well aligned with our shareholders, all of our shareholders, and also with our institutional shareholders, which we show a list of over here, some of them, and some of the larger institutions in our space in Europe and North America, and in fact, South America. So again, Mexico is a country where I've spent my whole career, and my team, where we built 4 mines and where we found in excess of 10 million ounces of gold equivalent. What we've done in GoGold, we had this project called Santa Gratuitas, which we bought for, and this is typical for us, we look for these kind of off the radar opportunities. We bought that in 2014 for 9 million. We invested 11 million in drilling and studies. And then in at the end of 2017, we sold it to Agnico Eagle for 95 million. And again, in GoGold, we have our Parral operating mine, where we've been producing now for 8 years. Our production ranges and will range from now until the end of the mine life, which is another 7 years of reserves, at 2 million to 2.2 million silver equivalent ounces that we produce, in a range of about $16 to $18 per silver equivalent ounce, all in sustaining cost. And that supplies free cash flow to our company, which not only pays for G&A, but also pays for the real driver of value in our company, which is the Los Ricos exploration project in Jalisco, Mexico. So again, that is the focus of GoGold operations, and 7 more years of mining at Parral and producing cash flow, which we redeploy into our exploration development asset, Los Ricos in Jalisco. Now, Los Ricos, we entered this project in March of 2019. And we initially drilled the project in what we call Los Ricos South. The project really is divided into 2 projects, Los Ricos South and Los Ricos North. We entered the project with 29 claims, And in the period between 2019 March until now, we've added additional claims. We're now up to about 44 claims. We started drilling in Los Ricos South, where we initiated a program of 40,000 meters. And then a little over a year later, as we acquired more claims in Los Ricos North, we initiated a program in Los Ricos North of more than 100,000 meters of drilling. And currently for 2022, we have one of the largest exploration drill programs in Mexico with a planned 100,000 additional meters. Well, with that drilling since 2019, we have been able to, in Los Ricos North, identify 87 million ounces of silver equivalent in what's called the measured and indicated category, and another 73 million in the inferred category. So in Los Ricos North, with that first 100,000 meters of drilling, we identified 161 million ounces of silver equivalent. And in Los Ricos South, we were also able to identify an additional 83 million ounces of silver equivalent for a combined resource in the Los Ricos district so far in just under 3 years of exploration. We have over 240 million ounces of silver equivalent that we've found. And what does that mean? That amount of ounces, and with all the land that we still have to explore, Los Ricos is becoming one of the most important silver assets in the silver business. And we believe that with the activity that we have planned for 2022, with the additional drilling in both Los Ricos North and Los Ricos South, that we'll be able to continue at this pace of rapid growth in the resource ounces on the project. But not only are we drilling for new resources and getting to a very, very large number of silver equivalent ounces in the district, but we also are putting economic studies around those ounces, primarily in Los Ricos South, in what we call our main zone. We completed the first economic study where we identified that zone that we had drilled with 40,000 meters and 83 million ounces of silver equivalent to have a net present value of 295 million US dollars. And that's at a 5% discount and based on silver at $21.1550. An initial capex of 125 million for a 5,000 ton a day mill. So with the company now having approximately 60 million US cash in the bank and the ability to raise funds, not only from equity, but debt offerings, we see a pre-feasibility study in Los Ricos South before the end of this year, 2022. And we see a path to getting, starting construction or making a construction decision in 2023 and potentially building Los Ricos South in 2023. But at the same time, in our Los Ricos North project, we continue drilling up there with 100,000 meters. And we released in December, just past, our initial resource of 161 million ounces. And we continue to drill in Los Ricos North on some of our highest priority targets, where we are focusing that drilling over the next 12 months and another 100,000 meters of drilling. And we see the potential to continue adding ounces at the pace that we've been adding in 2021, where we added this 161 million ounces. One of our biggest zones, Los Ricos North, where we've over the last several months, and in fact, last week, we released more results from the eastern extension of the El Favor zone. In this area, we see high potential to quickly add more ounces in up-dip drilling on those deposits in Los Ricos North, which we only first discovered last October. And in fact, last week, we released one of our highest grade drill holes from the El Favor East project in Los Ricos North, where we drilled 21 meters of 1.1 kilos of silver equivalent. And that's an important point about the Los Ricos district in general. Not only do we have very high grades that we drill, and we typically are releasing drill results every week or every second week, where many of those releases have grades in excess of 1 kilo per ton, up to as much as 8 kilos per ton in some of those releases. Beyond releasing those very high values, we're very fortunate in that not only do we have very high grades in vein structures that range anywhere from 1 meter to up to 8 meters wide with very high grades in the kilos. Those vein structures exist within a sea of moderate to good grade. So it gives us the opportunity to bulk mine the deposit in open pit or bulk mining underground. As you can see here, this is our Los Ricos El Favor western end in Los Ricos North, where we have wide zones up to 100 meters wide of very good grade that we can potentially bulk mine in open pits at very favorable strip ratios, which could lead to very low cost mining for this silver deposit. We use geophysics to our advantage. It has worked very well for us. You can see here that this geophysical technique has defined areas where we had drilled and we knew where the deposit is. And we've used that geophysics to make discoveries, and the most recent being in El Favor East in last October. And you can see that we have other geophysical anomalies which we are currently drilling. And in fact, one of those was intercepted and released in last week's release, where we hit part of that geophysical anomaly and we showed 21 meters of more than 1 kilo of silver equivalent. So this geophysics is a very important tool for us as we continue to explore Los Ricos North. One other thing about Los Ricos North that's very important, we've relied here a lot on the history of the district. We have a lot of anecdotal and hard data from the last century. This district was very active between 1900 and 1929. And that period of time in Mexico, there was a lot of foreign investment from Europe and United States. And in 1929, because of the political climate in Mexico, a lot of that investment left. But we've reviewed a lot of that data, and we have one map in Los Ricos North where it shows more than 100 targets from a map from 1916. And that has been our guide for exploring Los Ricos North. We went out and we found all those small mines, prospects, and we focused our 100,000 meters of exploration on some of those, primarily down here in this part of Los Ricos North. But now in 2022, with our new 100,000 meter drill program, we are focusing on a very large target up here called Gran Cabrera. We're now just drilling the first drill holes into that. And we see that as having the exploration potential to be similar to one of our largest targets, which is El Favor in Los Ricos North. So that'll be a zone that you'll hear a lot more about in 2022 with our drill program, the Gran Cabrera. We see the potential to continue with the growth of ounces in Los Ricos North and South that we've seen over the last 3 years, where in as short as a 3-year period, we have added over 240 million silver equivalent ounces to the Los Ricos district. We've shown the economic viability in Los Ricos South, that it can be potentially a low-cost producer and a bulk mining scenario. We see more of that coming in 2022 and beyond, and we believe that Los Ricos is truly becoming one of the most important silver assets in the silver business worldwide. Now, on top of all of that great news, and really Los Ricos is the driver of GoGold, we do have our operating mine, the Parral Tailings Retreatment Project, which is a great environmental, great ESG project in the town of Parral, Chihuahua, where we retreat 300-year-old tailings. We've been doing that now for 8 years, and we have 7 years of reserves left. We generate free cash flow, which we use to explore Los Ricos and drive the growth of the company. And that's what we plan to do in Los Ricos and GoGold in 2022. So finally, I would say that junior mining, of course, it can be a risky business with great rewards, like in GoGold. The main points that I believe you should look for in a junior miner is experience management. I myself have led 4 companies over the last 30 years. We've raised more than $1 billion of equity. We've done several $100 million of debt deals with larger banks. We built 4 mines, and all that time was spent in Mexico, where we truly understand the business climate and the great business and governmental relationships which allow us to prosper in the country of Mexico. So with that, I open to any questions that the audience may have.
Sure, Brad. This first question coming from Celine here. She's asking, what production profile you need to grow to become a potential takeout target for the majors?
Okay, well, I think that's a very good question. If you look at Los Ricos South, and when we bring that into production, we would be a company that would be generating more than 10 million ounces of silver equivalent production. And we would also be generating potentially in excess of $100 million US of free cash flow a year, which would make us very attractive, would propel us into being a mid-tier silver producer. But on that point, as far as attractiveness, it's not just your production, it also is your mineral resources. And for us, we are quickly generating large ounces, silver equivalent, in the hundreds of millions. And many of the silver producers out there, the major silver producers, are looking for deposits like this that may help them fill in their pipeline of new projects to come online. So GoGold, and I am the second largest shareholder of the company, and we have a large institutional base. We're not opposed to potentially entertaining offers where a major may come in and buy our resources. And this can be another way that a junior mining company can return a great return to its shareholders.
Sure. One more question here. Do you need to do PFS for Los Ricos, or you just finance it straight to construction?
Yeah, our plan is in Los Ricos South before the end of this year that we would publish a pre-feasibility study. And after a pre-feasibility study, we would take it to a final feasibility, or what we call a FEED, or front-end engineering design. And at that point, we feel that we could finance the project and start construction. Construction would be about 18 months. And again, it would produce about 10 million silver equivalent ounces per year.
Great. Thank you, Brett, for addressing the questions here. Thank you for your time here today.
Thank you.